So you're not alone in this swimming upstream, Charlie.
No, not at all, not at all. In fact, very strange thing happened at CBA. What do they call it now? International Christian Retail Show.
ICRS
yes,
or whatever.
ICBM.
Yeah.
I went to that, and I saw a friend of mine who had been working in television for many years. And he and I had the same literary agent very early on in my career. And I've always thought, oh, why would God take me out of the entertainment industry in the general market and have me doing something that goes mostly starts out in Christian homes? And it was kind of strange to me, but it was a very clear calling, which I'll explain in a minute. And I saw him there, and I thought, well, what are you doing here? Because he was at one point co-executive producer of the top drama in television.
Which, do you want to tell us?
Touched by an Angel.
Ah.
Oh,
And he had almost the identical calling, only now he's doing faith-based movies that are coming out through Fox Faith. He just did, what was it called?
The Gift was the latest one, was that?
Ultimate Gift is what
The Ultimate
is the
Gift.
one that just came out.
Yeah.
He did The Last Sin Eater.
Oh, okay. Yes, The Last Sin Eater. That was Francis Rivers. Francine Rivers.
Francine
That's
Rivers.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Francine
right.
Rivers. So there are a lot of people. God is moving in this industry, and taking people and doing something very specific. And He's not doing what I thought He was going to be doing.
Isn't that kind of how it goes?
Always
pretty
how
much.
it goes.
Yeah.
But
doesn't rely on me.
How did you get from, okay, so you're making it now in Hollywood, and this is what you always dreamed, to you're saying you're outside of Hollywood now?
Things were going fantastic. But as often happens, the show got canceled. And I was asked to pitch. My agent calls me up and says, well, they'd like you to pitch over at, I think it was Disney Channel who first called me. Disney Channel. I had no interest in this. So you got to know, I went in kicking and screaming. Now, we had just had our first son at this point. So I go into Disney Channel and I make my pitch and he rejects everything. And on a drive home...
Was it rejected because it was like over-the-top Christian?
He didn't say.
No, I just didn't say. Oh,
He didn't
okay.
say, thank you very much for your ideas. Come by again sometime. I didn't think he'd actually do it. Asked me to come back, that is. And my agent calls me on the drive home and says, he loved you. He wants you to come back.
Oh, so it wasn't a blowout. They actually did like
yeah,
your
so
love, but
he
yeah,
called
it
me
was
back,
there.
and I came in. It was more ideas. I started watching more and more kids shows, trying to figure out what's going on, and that's where I started getting frustrated. I'm watching these kids shows, and I see problems morally. I see things. I think, what parent wants their kids to talk that way?
Just the voices are so sinister.
Yes.
And
Right, and the siblings are always battling each other, and the kids are just learning bad habits through these things.
no
So-
respect for anybody or anything.
No, and the parents, if they're there, they're goons. For the most part, the kids run the show. So I thought, I can't do that. So here's what I'm going to try to create something that doesn't do that. And I started getting calls from Nickelodeon, Fox Family at the time, and people kept calling me in and rejecting everything. Thank you for noticing.
I get back to the rejection. I'm sorry.
Right. But you get used to that in the industry. And I figured at some point somebody's going to say, okay, well, that idea we'll go with, because they kept calling me back and they kept rejecting it. And finally, one day, my wife said, do you ever think God's calling you to do this on your own? No, dear, that's expensive. But He was. In this process of probably a year and a half, I gained a real strong burden for what our kids are seeing. And now I was starting to see it also through the eyes of my little child, who every time the television flickered, did this.
Yeah.
Is
They
there
do.
is there like a method? Because I always wonder, like, when we're seeing kids shows, these writers, is there a certain thing, like, are parents supposed to look like goons? Is there some kind of formula that works? No, it's just
Like, did you-
whatever
do you ever
gets
get a
accepted.
sense from them what they're looking for? What
You know,
Yeah.
because I'm always
That's a good
interested
question.
about that. Yeah.
Well, at some point, I said to one of the executives, what are you looking for? Because he kept calling me back, and he was so complimentary. He was very nice to me and rejected everything. And he said, I want something like Action. Well, Action was a show on Fox. It was actually originally created for HBO, where they bleeped out a lot of cuss words. It was a disgusting show. And I said, well, what parent is going to let their child watch this? And he said, I don't care if they watch it. I just want them to know about it. It was about, at that point, attention.
Right. If a lot of controversy gives a lot of publicity, and then everybody wants to see what it's about. Is that the idea?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
I gotta wonder if these people have kids,
disturbing.
because I'm not even a parent, but I have a 7-year-old nephew, and when I look into his face, it's so innocent, it's so pure, and anything that would wreck that for that little boy, man, I would be like a tiger over. Like nobody touches that
Look
kid.
out for
You know what I
Cheryl.
mean?
Well,
yeah.
a lot of these people who are putting out these shows don't let their kids watch them.
Wow.
They don't let their own kids watch their shows.
No,
They
no.
gotta really live with
I
themselves.
spoke recently with somebody who plays a voice on a cartoon, wouldn't let his child watch it.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we have the good news. Starts right here because you did step out financially. I don't know how you did it, Charlie.
I'm not sure yet either.
We're still holding on that one. But this initially was a radio broadcast. Started on 40 stations, very quickly went to hundreds, and now video. And I think we should take a little visit to the pond. I think the first thing we're going to see, which is refreshing, is just neon bright color. It's light, it's not dark, and happy critters. Let's go there, shall we? Let's take a trip to the pond.